Lasmi Naurem. Aina takodoriba class 3, 4, and 5 ki English. Hello children, let's do lesson number 12 of class 5, the adventures of a copper coin. Let's find out what does the copper coin find. Let me read it for you. Listen very carefully. My readers will perhaps ask why a little paisa should write its own autobiography. The copper coin is thinking that his reader will be very much surprised to find out that a little paisa is going to write an autobiography. Autobiography habadi kaino habada masagi wari se mashana idoini ka. Autobiographies I know are generally written by very important persons. I'm not a politician or a millionaire. I'm not even a 100-rupee note. But I consider that the true mark of greatness are not money or power, but experience, wisdom, and character. And the little paisa means it will be a pie. The little paisa is thinking that it need not to be a great person to write an autobiography. He thinks that experience, the wisdom and character are enough to write an autobiography. If that is so, I can claim to be a great in my small way. I have a lot to tell that I think is a good reason for writing this autobiography. And the small coin is thinking that he have the right to write his own story. Let's continue. To begin with, I was born in an underground rock in the earth. And he's saying that he had born under the underground rock. That was millions of years ago when the earth was a red hot ball. He was born during the period that the earth was a red hot ball. I do not remember much about that time because I was a little child and it all happened very long ago. About 80 years ago, I was dug out of the earth, melted and turned into a bar of bright red copper. He's telling us that he was dug 80 years ago and it is melted. He's melted. Melted means saudohale and turned into a bar of bright red copper. Bright red copper means yamna langba adugma copper bar amo onthokpire. That was the beginning of my adventure. And here it began his adventure. After a time, I was taken to a mint, melted again, and minted into a small coin. He was taken to a mint and it is melted again and turned into a small coin. On my face was stamped the figure of George V and my name was written on the other side. I was a quarter of an anna and was called a pie. On his face, George V figure is stamped. Stamp means namjun badunika. And on the other side, his name is written and it is called a pie. I had a number of brothers in the mint looking exactly like myself. And he had so many brothers who looked like himself. We were a very big family, but in a short time, we were all sent out into the world. After a short time, all of his family members were sent out to the world. I was not at all sorry to leave the mint, for I always felt that I was born for great adventures. And he is very much happy to leave the mint as he thinks that he is born to find many adventures. We were taken to a bank. From there, some of us were taken to a big business house and put into a money box. All of them were taken and given into a bank. After that, Some of them were taken to a business house, and all of them are put into a big money box. At that time, I was very proud of my beauty and youth. During this time, he was very much beauty, and he was very much proud for his beauty and youth. My brothers and I laughed and sang and made a great deal of noise. And all of the brothers make fun. They make great noise. They laugh. They sing into the money box. In the corner of the box, there was an old 100-rupee note with ink marks on his page. And on the another corner, a 100-rupee note is lying. It has an ink mark on his page. He was the proudest person I have ever known. And the 100-rupee note is the proudest person that the coin ever met. He looked hard at me and said, "You worthless fellow, I don't touch people like you." He looked hard means yam khana yengbuduni ko. He looked at the copper coins and said, "You worthless fellow. You valueless fellows, mamal yaudaba sing habani. I don't touch people like you." I dislike his proud character and rude manners, but said nothing. And the copper coin do not like the 100-rupee note because of his proudness and his rude manner. Rude haidimingon the thausadaba ushitaba duniga. But he cannot say anything. Pride goes before a fall. The next, he was taken out and locked off in an iron safe. Next day, the 100-rupee note was taken and he was locked off inside an iron box. I guess the fellow had a long rest there. We were considered worthless, so we were not put into the iron safe, but left free to travel and see the world. People think the pies are worthless, so they are not locked inside the iron safe and they are left free to travel and see the world. In the business house, my brothers and I had to part, and I never saw them again. They were in the business house, and from there, his brothers and he had to part it away, and they have never met again. I have learned by long experience that life is like that. For every meeting, there is a parting. And the copper coin had experienced that if we meet, we have to part it someday. And he is parting from his brother, and he is enjoying about it. Many of my brothers were given out exchange, and many of his brothers are given out exchange means I was given to an office boy. He took me out and exchanged me for 6 berries at a pawn shop. And the particular copper coin who is writing the autobiography is given to an office boy, and the office boy took him to a pawn shop to buy 6 berries. The shopkeeper gave me to an old woman, and she dropped me into beggar's bowl. I remained in the bowl for a day in the sun. And the shopkeeper again gave the copper coin to an old woman, and the old woman gave him to a beggar, and he remained in the bowl for 1 day in the sun. But next day my travel began again. On the next day he had to travel again. I moved from place to place, meeting all kinds of people, beggars and king, policemen and pickpockets. And the copper coin moved from one person to one He moved from one place to another and meeting various type of people. He met beggars, kings, policemen, pickpockets, etc. Once a miser locked me off in a box for a few days. After that, he exchanged 64 of my kind for a rupee note. Once a miser locked him in a box for a few days. Miser means yamna arikpa mi habaduniko. And the miser exchanged him along with the 64 of his brothers for 1 rupee note. Misers have always been good to me. In fact, I have a soft corner for them in my heart. And he is telling us that misers are lucky for him. In fact, he had a soft corner in his heart for those misers. They harm themselves. Spendthrift brings suffering to themselves and to others. And the copper coin wants to tell us that misers harm themselves, not others. But spendthrift means extravagances, means brings suffering to themselves and also to the other. Still, the world hates misers and has a kind of liking for spendthrift. And he is telling us that the world hates the misers. And they like the spendthrifts. Spendthrifts they hurt themselves and others. The world like them. He did not know why the world is doing like this. I have never understood the secret of this. And the copper coin is thinking that why the world like the spendthrift and had the misers. Children, we have learned the lesson, the advances of the copper coin. And let me tell you the summary of the lesson. The copper coin told us that he is going to write an autobiography, and he thinks the experience, wisdoms, etc. are the sources for writing an autobiography. And he told us that he was born underground millions of years ago. Before 80 years, he was dug out and melted and made him a copper coin. And he had many brothers exactly like himself, and they are sent to the banks. From banks, they went to other places, and he himself was gone to a business house. From the business house, he is given to an office boy, and the office boy take him and exchange him with 6 berries. From the shop, the shopkeeper give him to an old woman, and the old woman again sent him to a beggar. From the beggar's bowl, he went to other places. He told us that he met different kind of people, from beggar to king, from policeman to pickpocket. And once he was caught by a miser, and he had a soft corner for them. And he said that why the world has the misers and love the spendthrift. This is what we have learned in this lesson. Now children, let's learn some new words along with its meaning. The first word is autobiography, and it means the story of a person's life written by the person himself. The second word is millionaire. Millionaire means a very rich person. And the third word is mint. Mint is the place where money is made. Then the fourth word is worthless. Worthless means having no value. And the last word is rude. Rude means showing lack of respect to other people. Children, we have learned the lesson, the advances of a copper coin. We have finished the lesson here, and let's meet in the next class.